Wow. Wow. It's good to be home. Jesus. I have a very, very old Drake song stuck in my head. That was the version of Drake that I liked. Hello, site. Oh, man. Wow. Oh. That's my stream piano. Wow, dope. Okay, good morning, Maddie. Good morning, Kit. Oh, Kit. Good morning. Kit, I'm back home. Welcome everybody to Morning Medley number 99. I am back in Los Angeles now. It is very quiet in the city. It's also still just as gloomy as it was when I left. No snow though. No snow though. It was cool. It was cool. Thank you, Kit James. Were you in the I don't remember if you were. Were you in the snow streams? The mammoth streams? Oh, no way. Well, thank you, kid. It is, it's nice to be back to my old setup. This song is called Reflection Pool. It was named by Kid James. Ooh, that song is called. Oh, is that a hive? Uh oh. Uh oh, something got me. Something got me. I think it's that blanket. There's a particular blanket in my room. Or, it's in my room now. I sleep under it sometimes. It's like one of those really, really thick, heavy lion blankets. Like those blankets that have like a cheetah or a lion on it. Sometimes it makes me itchy. It gives me hives sometimes. I don't understand. And then other times it won't. haven't used any different detergents on it. Same thing I use on my clothes. My clothes don't make me itchy. Hmm. Ava says a lot of people have sensitiveness to certain perfumes. I believe this, but I don't know if that's the case with my blanket. I don't know what's going on with my blanket. I don't know what it is. I feel like my body didn't really react to snow very much. It was nice though. It was nice walking in it. What the heck is that sound? It's gonna take me a while to get used to the sounds of the city again. At least today. At least it'll take me till the middle of today. It is very quiet up there in the mountains. It doesn't have feathers on it either. Although I do like this I don't know, process of elimination. Oh, heavens no, because I would never want to live in snow. But I did enjoy the visit. These are not almost over, Tony M. Just the theming of the stream changes at 100. The stream being Morning Medley does not. Ava says, those are my two best guesses. I have no clue. I don't have a clue either. And again, it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes I sleep in the blanket and it's fine. For example, I slept under that blanket for a whole week before I left up to the mountains. And now that I've come back, I was completely fine all night last night. But then this morning, I have one very small hive on the inside of my wrist. It's really weird. This next song is called Union Station, which I have not seen in quite some time. All of the things I would normally take the subway to are closed now, so I just haven't actually been on the subway in a while. A long time for me. A long time for me. Interesting. I didn't know how the chat behaves on a phone. Cyber. That's funny. No, don't try to get fancy. I'm trying to write new chords for that song though. Anyways. I just started playing a game called Control before I went up to Mammoth for a weekend, the extended weekend, and I love it. In fact, when I got back home, it was the first thing I did. Played a little bit of Control, and then watched a movie on Asian Crush called The Destiny of Love or something ridiculous like that. The Love of Destiny? Destiny Love? Love Destiny? Destiny and Love? Is that a puzzle game? It is not a puzzle game. Although there are puzzle aspects to it, but mostly it's not a puzzle game. It's like an action game. Did you ever play Alan Wake? It's by the same people that made that. It's the best way I can describe it. How's the gameplay? The gameplay's amazing, Ava. I love it. I love it so much. I love Remedy. They make good stuff. God, I'm hungry. I love the aesthetic of it, but I wasn't sure how fun it would be. It says Ava. I would say the game is very fun. However, I am learning that I am developing a little bit of like a sensitivity to motion, like motion sickness, in specific games. And that game triggers it a little bit, just a tiny bit. But not so much that it hinders me from playing the game. But the game is really good. The game does a lot of things. How do I say things without spoiling the game? I will say I like games that do things that make me pay attention. What? Yes. Sometimes games can be good without actually adding anything new to the equation of gaming or my expectations from games. Overcooked is this way. I talked about this in the last stream I had before I went up to Mammoth, which was that I really like the game Overcooked, but there's nothing particularly special about it. It's just a fun, whatever game to play. Mario Party, games like that, fun to play, but no surprises. And then there's games like Near Automata, where it's like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. I wasn't expecting that. I like it when games can still surprise me, whether it's with the plot, the way the plot goes, the way the game is played, visuals and stuff like that. And I think that Control does a really good job at keeping you interested in the story and also the gameplay, weird things that happen in the gameplay. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. But yeah, very good. Good morning, Dark Bro. You know what's funny, Cypher, is I was really excited for this game. And this is the last thing I'll say about the game. I was really excited for this game, and I was eagerly waiting its release because I really liked all the other games that this particular development studio had made. And then the game came out, and I just didn't get it because I was busy with work. And, I mean, it came out last fall, so I just waited, I guess, yeah, like 2 seasons, and then I just got it, last week. And I had forgotten everything about like gameplay footage and what I knew of the story so far. I'd forgotten everything. And going into that game blind, I'd say going into that game blind definitely emphasized the effect that it had on me. I think that a lot of Control, if I'm being honest, a lot of Control's impact can be ruined if you look up stuff that happens in the game. There are some games where this isn't necessarily the case. And I'll harken back to Overcooked. I can look at the last boss of Overcooked, and I can look at gameplay of the later levels of Overcooked, and it won't really matter. It's not going to hinder my ability to still enjoy the game or even be surprised by the game, because there just isn't that much wild stuff happening. But there are certain things that I'm really happy were not spoiled for me in Control, particularly one gameplay sequence. I'm so glad it wasn't spoiled because it is maybe the most impactful part of the game for me. Okay, same thing with Alan Wake, actually. This company just seems to do that a lot. Do you only like regular, says Diz. Let me go up to see what they're talking about. This says, do you mess with Dijon mustard or do you only like regular? I don't like either. Not a mustard person. I don't really like mustard. There aren't any things I eat that I would put mustard on. Occasionally, I will like honey mustard, but honey mustard to me exists in this really weird realm where it's not. For some reason, I don't count it as a mustard. I don't know. And I don't even always like that. I liked it a lot more when I was a child, I'll tell you that much. Okay. This next song, because there are people missing from the stream that would allow me to play double Lutz as well as vanilla. So I'm going to play Into Thin Air. Because that song belongs to me, baby. That's nobody's song. I used to like mustard. I used to just be a ketchup boy, says this. I guess that's still me. I just like things that are spicy. So even when I have ketchup, either I'll use spicy ketchup or I'll mix like hot sauce in the ketchup or sriracha. I don't really like ketchup just by itself. This piano bench is just getting destroyed. Maddie, I'm glad that you said that about the mustard seeds. Okay, so I don't like mustard. However, I went to this really bougie restaurant that I'm not very proud of, called, I don't remember. That's how much I cared about it. I don't remember what it was called, but I know exactly where it is in downtown. I have never met Isidore in person, Cyber, but when I went there, all of the menu items were very bougie things. Pate, this, I don't know, liver, something. I don't know. There was no chicken fingers on the menu. That is what I noticed first. No chicken tenders, no pizza, no French fries. However, they had this cheese. What is that cheese called? Brie? Brie cheese? Brie cheese with like nuts or something in it? I don't know. And berries. It was very not my style. But on the side of. There's pate. Anyways, on the side they were like, oh, we'll bring you some mustard. And instead of bringing it mustard, they actually brought like this really weird sauce that had a bunch of mustard seeds in it. So you would kind of sprinkle the mustard seeds on it, eat it that way. And I have to say, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but that is the only time that I can ever recollect enjoying mustard. I don't know. There's a. Who was I talking to? I was talking to a very. I remember who it was, but I'm not going to say their name on stream. I was talking to a very wealthy friend of mine who has their opinion of things, of food. Is they say that a lot of things. Hold on. Where was I? I was like here. I was like. Crap. I was talking about food. Anyways, wealthy friend says to me, Omni, there's a lot of things I noticed you don't like. And I was like, yeah, I don't have a very developed palate. And he says, the reason that a lot of people have a developed palate is because they can afford to do so. And I was like, what are you talking about, you rich piece of garbage? And he was like, well, I didn't like tuna. I thought I didn't like tuna. And then I had really, really expensive, well-made tuna. And turns out I like tuna. And I was like, okay. And he said, a lot of the things, Ami, that you don't like, you are probably only eating cheap renditions of those things. Whoa, my phone is freaking out. This is kind of funny. Am I upside down in the stream? This is so funny. What on earth are you doing? Yo, my phone is flipping out. I don't know how to fix it. Maybe if I just spin the stream around, will that do it? Yo, my phone is like turning against me. Well, see, now I don't trust it anymore. Sorry, what was I saying? Yo, I like looked at my phone and the screen turned black and this. Oh, it did it again! No, whoa, it keeps flipping me. Okay. I'm going to continue the stream. I don't. What is happening exactly? I don't I don't know how to fix that. Guys, I'm gonna be. I think it's happening again. Guys, I'm gonna be real. I don't know what's happening with my phone. I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't know if this is only happening on my end, but my phone keeps trying to turn me upside down. And my phone is not moving, just the stream keeps flipping. Okay, I'm gonna keep playing. And I'm gonna keep talking. And I'm gonna try to ignore that and act like it's not happening. Um, I apologize if this is disrupting the stream. I really do. Crap. What did I say? What was I saying? Oh yeah. So they said, Omni, you only dislike a bunch of foods because you're eating the cheaper versions of those foods. And if you had a very well prepared and cooked and made and care was put into it, you would appreciate it. And at the time, I disagreed with them. Well, I didn't necessarily disagree with them. I kind of just like, I was very flippant and dismissive about it because I was like, whatever. I'm probably not going to eat too many fancy foods. So if I don't like the cheap version of food, I'm probably just not going to like that food. And there are some things, like obviously if you get like a really crappy meatball sub or something like that, and then you have a really nice one, you'll be like, well, this is a pretty good meatball sub. But you can still eat the crappy one. Or if you have a really crappy burger, or me, if I have a really crappy burger, I can also eat an expensive burger and just go, I could have had the crappy one. The crappy one was fine. It was cheaper. But there have been a few instances in my life where I have had the expensive version of something and liked it and been surprised that I liked it when I thought I didn't care for that thing. Brie cheese is actually one of those things. I don't really like cheese. I'm not really a big fan of just eating cheese. Just eating cheese is wild to me. But there's a place called Perch in downtown LA that, yeah, I ordered the brie and it was like actually really good. And I don't know what that means. Brie Larson's pretty cool too, Cyber. Although, if I'm being honest, I haven't seen too many things with Brie Larson in it. I think I can name like 3 movies I've seen. Maybe 2. If I'm not counting, like, every Marvel thing she's been in, I guess. Which is only 2 things? 2, maybe 3 things? 2 things? I've converted my boyfriend onto mushrooms, goat's cheese, beets, and scallops. Ay, ay, ay. Wow, you're really bringing him through the gates, beyond the gates. Boyfriend conversion is very scary to me. I don't like that term, Cyber. I don't like the term boyfriend conversion. It conjures up feelings that I don't want to talk about on the stream. But that's good that you've opened up your boyfriend's palate, I suppose, Mary. If he likes those things now, I mean, who doesn't like goat cheese? Well, me, I don't like goat cheese, but who else doesn't like goat cheese? Probably no one. It's probably just me on an island by myself. Maddie says, it's interesting because I think sometimes that's true, but I think the opposite is also true. Sometimes rich people ignore certain good food because they're cheap. Very true. Sometimes rich people can ruin a food. So I think that pizza has what do I want to call this? Like, it has a curve of diminishing returns. It can only get so good, and then from that point on, it kind of flatlines, and will almost even get less good, but it'll keep getting more expensive. Like, I've had a pizza that was very expensive, and I wasn't necessarily much more impressed by that pizza than I was by freaking Little Caesars. So, I agree with that. Good morning, Sam. Welcome to Morning Medley number 99. Ew, I love that. Cyber says I usually dislike onions, at least the sliced and sauteed versions. Particularly the type you find in a Philly cheesesteak, but since I started cooking more this past year, I've come to appreciate it. Onions. Yeah, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet on the onions. It feels better because it's a new experience, says Diz, talking about your perception on how food tastes could be influenced by the opulent production surrounding the presentation. This is true. Environment is a big thing. There's a lot of places I go to. I mean, this has an obviously affected my taste, and I'll get into that a little bit later in this point I'm making. But there's a place locally here called Bon Appetit. It's a boba shop, and no shots to Bon Appetit. The boba is not amazing. It leaves a lot to be desired, but the atmosphere of the place is really nice. So I go there usually to work, and then I'll get boba there. So if somebody asks me, what the boba I like is in LA. I wouldn't even list them as boba that I enjoy, but I have spent the most money on their boba because I just go there very often because the atmosphere is pretty cool. The music they play is getting better. It used to be pretty awful by my standards, but I like it now. Ava loves onions, but Ava can't do mushrooms. They taste rotten to me. Word up. Honestly, cheap food is the best. You have to find the right joints, says Mance. Yeah, I don't think anybody is arguing in this stream that cheap food is bad. Um, I think for me, liking foods is just about how many times I try them, says Maddie. Wow. Hmm. I'm like that with people, Maddie. I'm like that with people. That's amazing. Usually, even if I don't particularly like a person very much, but I hang out, like if I'm neutral to a person and I hang out with them long enough, I will like them. And then if I hang out with them much longer after that, I will dislike them. There's kind of like a bell curve of all of my relationships of me being indifferent, really liking somebody, and then kind of not liking them anymore. And you seem to have just half of that bell curve for food interest, which is kind of interesting. Um, your dad got you into appreciating mushrooms. We're talking about a lot of mushrooms in the stream. Also, Black Magic Boy from IG streams. Yes, yes, yes. I remember. I remember. Black Magic Boy and Mance are the same person. But I just say Mance because it's easier to read. But welcome to the YouTube stream. I'm glad that you came over. Because Instagram streams are dead now. Something kind of funny about the Instagram streams, though, is like now with all the quarantines happening, everybody and their cousin is Instagram live streaming. So whenever I open up Instagram, it's like a huge line of just everybody's live streaming. And I go into somebody's and they're just doing nothing. They're just doing nothing. God bless them. They're doing absolutely nothing. And I think everybody's just so bored. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do in these trying times. And it is kind of interesting to see like. Ooh, honey, what the heck? I gotta do something with that. Hmm. Think about cooking makes me hungry, says Maddie. I'm pretty hungry myself, but I have some leftover pizza in the fridge. Others they are just watery sponges. I like drying them out in the pan so you can have them. Oh, we're just talking about food now at this point. I'm gonna try to steer the conversation back to music. I'm sorry, but if you would like to have pocket conversations about food, you are more than welcome. Who knows? Maybe I'll even join back into it. But I have been away from my studio, and it has been such an eye-opening experience to be not only away from the studio, because that's not the first time I've spent time away from my home. Typically, though, when I spend time like that away from my home, I'm spending time performing, or I'm spending time not doing any music things. Like I'm spending time with family, I'm spending time with friends, or whatever. This time I was away from my studio, but I did have two of my keyboards, and it kind of reminded me about how much creativity can balloon out of limitations. And I think that experimenting and limiting yourself creatively, not creatively, let me not say that, limiting yourself resource-wise, can sometimes boost creativity. And so I spent a lot of time, hours and hours, alone with my microcord. I told myself I wasn't going to do any like Netflix streaming or anything while I was away from home. I was just going to focus on my keyboards and maybe mess around with Duolingo. But I did a lot of like homework, I guess, with my microcord, and started building a lot of sound sets off of the sine wave. Honestly, if you were in the streams, if you were in the Mammoth streams, you know about, like, because I talked about sine waves for like 2 hours. But know how versatile the sine wave is. And the thing that's so sad sometimes is I'll have this huge synthesizer in front of me, this great subtractive synthesis or modular synthesis or FM synthesis. These are different types of synthesis. I'll have this huge thing in front of me. And then I'll like kind of turn some knobs and I'll get like a nice sine wave, maybe with like a little bit of like high release and short decay. I'll just make a sine wave, and then I'm like, this is cool. And I'll just play a bunch of chords with sine waves. I realized way later in my music career that the reason I was so enamored by sine waves is because they sounded pretty close to a Rhodes piano to me, to my ears. They were the closest I could get to a Rhodes piano in like a short synthesis procedure, I suppose. And so, oh, the bees are back. The bees are back. Anyways, and so I went up to the mountain, and I kept like making more complicated sound fonts and sound patches and stuff like that. But I feel like the sine wave is infallible, so I always ended up kind of reverting back to the sine wave. But the interesting thing about a sine wave is when you listen to music typically, like I don't know what type of music everybody in the stream listens to, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that you listen to music with synthesizers in it, because that's a very safe assumption. You guys probably listen to music with synthesizers in it. However, you guys probably don't listen to much music that has sine waves in it. Unless maybe you're listening to chiptune, or you're listening to like lo-fi electronic artists. And when I say lo-fi, I do not mean lo-fi hip-hop. Lo-fi is a huge spectrum, but lo-fi electronic artists typically use like a little bit more simpler sounds, right? Like sine waves and stuff like that. Like even if you listen to or listened to artists like MGMT early on, or what's another good one? If you listened to, what was Imogene Heap's duo name? Frou Frou. If you listened to Frou Frou way back, probably heard a lot of sine waves. And so, oh, I'm so hungry. Anyways, and so if you listen to a lot of music with synthesizers though in it. Synthesizers can do a lot of things now. Synthesizers can sound like a guitar. I showed a quick demonstration last stream in '98 about how you can take a clav piano sound and add a bunch of drive to it and make it sound like an electric guitar, like a jazzy electric guitar. So synthesizers can do a lot now. You can do so much with processing sound. If you listen to any pop music, you've heard a synthesizer in it, but it's usually built up to have, a bigger sound than simply just a sine wave. But I always gravitate, especially in sound design, towards simple sounds arranged complexly. Complexly, I don't know if that's a word. I gravitate to simple sounds arranged in a complex manner. So I would like to, hi Isidora. Oh, hi Jessica. Jessica's here. Since Isidora's here, I am going to play 17th Downtown, but I'm going to keep explaining what I was talking about, and that's, if you want a complicated song, you can take simple sounds and you can arrange them in a complicated manner. When you really think about it, every piano song, whether it's a classical piano song or a jazz piano song, is just that. Piano is a very simple sound. All the notes kind of have, similar texture, because they're all just, it's the same instrument. In the same way that a guitar, all the guitar strings have a similar texture. Then say a guitar string and then a tom drum and then a glockenspiel and a harp. They all have different textures. But if you're playing one instrument, you're really messing with one texture sonically. But you're adding a bunch of notes to make it more complicated. But the other example, or the other side of that spectrum, is taking very complicated sounds with simple arrangements. A good example of that is dubstep. Dubstep's arrangements, if you took out the MIDI and looked at how a dubstep would be arranged on a piano, it's very, very simple. There's not a lot happening, but the sounds that they're using are very complicated, so it can still have a complex texture. Ooh, homie, you know better than that. it to 16 to 64. Wow. I think I want to do that. I want to do that. I married 15 years. Wow. 15-year anniversary. Congratulations, Isidora. Wow, 15 years. Have I known anybody for 15 years that's not family? Yes. Yes, I have. I'm not married to them. They are quite the man. I've been organizing into textures more than sounds, says Sam. Oh. I don't know what I've been organizing by. I wish I had a more consistent organization theory so that I could find stuff half the time. Oh. Okay, it's not an anniversary, but still, that's a long time. That's dope. That's dope, kid. Wow, I'm hungry. Sorry, that's the last time I'm going to say that in this stream. I know that doesn't make for good conversation, but it is true. Goodbye, Mance. Organizing stuff by leads. Ooh, that's a weird chord. Leads add so much context and purpose to chords. Melody, not necessarily leads. Like you would kind of like if you have a melody that's changing key or whatever, or going to a different place, the chords underneath it don't sound so directionless and random, especially if you're having chords that are doing a lot, like the chaser chords. Like when I just play these chords by themselves, they don't mean anything. But with the lead and the chaser, it gives it at least a little bit of context. Kid is gonna head out. Goodbye, Kid. Thank you so much for being in the stream. And have fun with your sidewalk chop bombing. Oh my heavens. Okay, I'm not going to say it again. We're at minute 47. I can't really start going over news yet. The thing that kind of is interesting about the current times is that there is no news. We're all kind of on pause for the moment, aren't we? The only thing that is really actually continuing in my world, as far as you guys are concerned, is the stream. The stream is still here. I didn't have like proper snow clothes and I didn't want to get drenched. But it was fun. It was fun. Easy to ride. I did have a lot of fun in the snow. However, after 3 days of snow, let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, 4 days of snow. I was done. I was done. My friend was still like, "Yo, this is like amazing. Oh, it's so pretty." But like on day four, I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm over it. I can I cannot do this for another year or two." But I did enjoy the snow very much. It was very nice. Diz is tired of hearing about it, so we're not going to talk about it in the stream. News from me is reported two of my house plants into bigger pots yesterday. That's kind of fun, Maddie. I have a new neighbor, and I wanted to buy them a house plant. I don't know who all lives there, but I've only seen somebody coming out and walking a dog. But I feel like it has to be more than whatever. Who cares? I was gonna buy them a plant, but I thought in the current climate of like the current social climate, it would probably be ill-advised to gift a stranger a thing. So I'm not doing that, and it's bothering me. Somehow that's bothering me. I don't know. And so I haven't done anything, but hopefully, I don't know, one day, maybe after this is all over. But then it'll be too late. Then they won't be a new neighbor. I don't know what I'll do. I want to do something though. I just don't know how to now. I feel like my one like weapon or tool in making people feel welcome and disarming them is some type of social energy and attention. And I feel like right now that's the last thing that people out in public want. So I don't know. I don't know how to proceed with that. Oh, word, Sam. I mean, technically, if I wait until they're gone, it'll already be out there 3 hours, Sam. But I don't think a lot of people are operating off of logic like that. I think a lot of people are operating off of fear. So I don't think the 3 hour thing will even occur to them, probably. They'll probably just be like, I don't know what this is or who gave this to me. It's going in the garbage. I think that, I mean, if people are like knocking out the shelves for toilet paper, I'm not going to expect a high level of logic from the people right now. No gifts, no more presents. Yes to new music, says Cyber. I'm not feeling very inspired. I'm not feeling very inspired. Oh, but I did make a new video. I didn't make a new video, but I edited a new video while I was up in the mountains, so I'll probably put up a new video today, tomorrow. It's Tuesday. I'll put it up today. Who cares? I'll like edit it after I'm done playing video games, so it'll probably go up around like noonish, one-ish, two-ish, afternoonish, sometime in the afternoon. Yes, I'll do that. That'll be a nice thing to be productive because I feel like if I don't do something, I'll probably get stuck in like a hole where I'm just eating pizza and playing video games. So I'll figure it out. Probably today though. Tuesday. Plus, I need a video to put on my Instagram anyway so that I can post a photo again because I don't post two photos after one another. I always alternate between the two. But yeah, other than that, I haven't felt like super musically inspired lately. However, Cyber and rest of the stream, those house tracks that I was making, those really funky house tracks, I haven't heard them. One of the greatest gifts of leaving home is that you're allowed some respite from your own projects. I mean, if you have discipline and self-control, like I do in some areas of my life, you know how to not listen to your own music. But for me, whenever I open up my computer, I mean, music is the only thing I do on my computer, you know? I don't really watch movies on my computer. I don't play games on my computer. I don't chat with friends really on my computer. When I turn on my computer, it's Fruity Loops or nothing. And so I listen to those projects so much, I don't really like them anymore. And I think maybe this break away from them, if it doesn't make me like them, it'll at least allow me to have a fresh perspective on some of them. Maybe it'll mean that I don't like them or want to release them anymore. Or maybe it means that I will have some greater ideas for vocals. I don't know. But that's where I am at right now. I'm kind of excited to listen to those, and I'm purposefully I'm intentionally not listening to them right now. I'm just allowing some more some more time of being home and getting back into the rigmarole of Los Angeles, and then I'm gonna open up those tracks and see if I still like them or if I still don't like them. Played Animal Crossing for like 24 hours straight in the weekend and came out of it fresh and was able to look at some things I've been doing. Away from home on a desert island. It's nice. It's nice. I haven't really. I'm not like part of the crew. I'm not part of the Animal Crossing crew, but it has taken over my timeline while I was up in Mammoth. All of my timeline was just Pandemic and Animal Crossing. Can I listen to those tracks again? They're so good. Thanks, Easy Door. I do actually really appreciate that. I appreciate how much you and Cyber have been very supportive of those tracks because they are slightly different from me. I'm not gonna um, lie to anybody and say that they're like completely outside of my wheelhouse. Like making music at 125 and making funky stuff is kind of in my skill set, but this is still kind of a different approach to music than I've typically done. I typically write music that's going to be very complicated to play live, whether it's lead lines or chord progressions, but these songs are very housey, and so they won't require me, as, at least live, to do a lot of complicated things, but it'll still be fun to play. I'm trying to meet people in the middle, make something that's fun for them to listen to and dance to, and also fun for me to perform and create. I can only stand to play a video game for like 4 hours these days. In one sitting, that is. I wish that was me. But I have a very distinct memory of getting Kingdom Hearts. And getting Kingdom Hearts and getting home, and I couldn't play it because somebody was using the TV. And then I remember waking up really early the next morning, like, I'm talking like 4 a.m., like mad early, like sun was not up. And I queued up Kingdom Hearts. Oh, to feel that level of joy again. I can count them on my hands, y'all. Kingdom Hearts, maybe Avengers Endgame. There's been so few, and maybe it's good that there's a few, so I appreciate it, but there's been so few times in my life where I've experienced true ecstatic, like, excitement. Like, wow, like kid eyes bugged. I mean, I feel like the older you get and the more experiences you rack up, the harder it is to, like, get that feeling again. But I remember being a kid and seeing the trailer for Kingdom Hearts. It was like a commercial that came on the TV. And I remember like Simple and Clean was playing, and it's like Disney characters and Final Fantasy characters, and I was like in a weird. I mean, it had like crossover magic. There's something about crossover magic when you see a character you like over here and a character you like over here in the same photo. It does something weird to you, or at least it used to. Now I feel like with like all the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we're a little less sensitive to it. But at the time, I was still pretty sensitive to it. And I thought, I have to play this game. This is a game that I need. I need to play. It's all I can think about. Then it came out, I bought it, and I played it. And the entire time I was playing it, I think maybe towards the middle of it, no, towards like the final third of the game, I was able to kind of play it with like a regular, like, oh, I'm playing a game. This is cool. But the whole 2/3 before then, I was just blown away every 2 seconds. I was like, they've got that in here? Oh my god, that's a reference to this. What? Aladdin's here? Yo! It was just like the whole game was amazing. And same thing happened with Endgame. But why am I talking about all this? Because I'm talking about playing a game for more than 4 hours, because Diz said that that's kind of their personal limit in one sitting. I played that game from 4 a.m. that morning until, like, I played it all day that day, and then all through the night, and then the next morning, I was just, like nodding off, so I did have to sleep. But I played that game for a very long time, and my parents were very upset. Everybody in my life was very upset, but I couldn't have been happier. It was great. It was really a great time. Now, could I do that today? No. But I can have a very long gaming session. I can play a game, I say, before I need to get up and like stretch and go outside. You know what? My body's physical needs will approach before I'm tired of playing the game. Like, I will need to get up to eat. I will need to get up to eat. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sometimes I won't use the bathroom. This is too much. I don't want to talk about this anymore. But I will, like, I'll get to a point where, like, I'm complaining about being hungry and people around me are like, yo, have you eaten today? It's 8 p.m. You should eat something. And I'm like, I'll order something. And so, Yeah, games can do that. I'm lucky, or I should say, I'm fortunate in that games that I'm interested in come once every blue moon now a day nowadays. I used to, and a lot of people will be able to relate to this. I used to know every single game that came out because there just wasn't that many to track. You know, it's like, oh, there's a Nintendo 64 game, there's a PlayStation game. That's it. It's easy to tell when each one comes out. Nowadays, it's like there's so many games all the time. I can't play them all. And to be honest, I don't want to. I would say every year has two games I really, really care about, and then three more games that I'm playing because I feel obligated to, right? Like, I really wanted to play Spider Man. But games like Sekiro or Devil May Cry 5 or games like that, I felt obligated to play. I really wanted to play Death Stranding. Um, this Control game that I actually really enjoyed, it was more of an obligation. I liked the developer that made it a lot. I feel like I've talked a lot on this subject, but basically, Diz, I think that you have a very healthy relationship with video games, that 4 hours is kind of like your limit. I think that's good, and that's probably where it should be. Um, have you ever heard of Desert Bus, says Diz? It's a game where you drive a bus to Las Vegas in real time. Well, I don't think that I would like that game, Diz, because I've personally driven to Las Vegas like, I don't know, 30 times. So I don't like simulations of things I can or have done in real life. So I have never heard of that game though, to answer your question, Diz. But I've driven to Vegas like tons of times. I've driven to Vegas with my friends. I've driven to Vegas with my parents. I've driven to Vegas by myself. Um, I live in Arizona, or I lived in Arizona, so Vegas wasn't that wild of a drive away. But it's also very boring. I mean, I was born in the desert, so desert landscaping is like hideous to me. I hate it. I'm so sick of it. So yeah, the drive to Vegas is very boring, and so the idea of playing that in a game is mind-boggling to me. I fall in love very quickly with any game, says Maddie, that has a compelling story or cute characters or both. I like. Oh, goodbye, Mary. I. Hmm. Maybe this is like typical of me or typical of like. I'll just say it's typical of me. I'm not gonna project on any other archetypes, but it's typical of me. But I have no cute reaction. I don't see things and go, "That's cute. I would like more of it." I don't think that's ever happened to me. I don't think it's ever happened to me. So games that lean heavily on cute, usually I don't like. I could make the argument that I've already talked about Overcooked on the stream, but I can make the argument that Overcooked has cute things in it, but I don't react to them or I'm affected by them. The thing that I like most about Overcooked is its stressful scenario creator. It's basically just like a stress simulator, and I kind of like that. I like being put in very difficult situations and having to like parse through them and manage things. I love like time management and procedure management. I like things like that. I like puzzle games, and at its root, Overcooked feels like a puzzle game. Um, however, yeah, games that people say are cute, I typically don't enjoy. I typically don't enjoy. However, the first thing that you said, Maddie, games that have a compelling story, falling in love with them. I do like games with a compelling story. Story is, I think, the most important thing to me. Gameplay isn't as important as story for me. Story. What are games I played that had a compelling story? Control has a compelling story, but that's more recent. It's an old game I had that had a compelling story. A game that I like that had a good story. I would say a game like Sekiro is all gameplay, very little story. Games like Dark Souls, I'm not really into games like that. Like, I do need plot. I need a plot. I need something to do. or something to get immersed in. A game I played that had a good story was Death Stranding. I actually really liked the story in Death Stranding. I would make the argument that Death Stranding's gameplay, I'm not knocking the game at all, but I would make an argument that the gameplay of Death Stranding takes a far back seat to the story. The gameplay is interesting, very interesting, but it's not exciting to me. But the game is so pretty and the story is beautiful and intriguing, so it kept me there, it kept me in it. Yes, lore, cyber. Lore, that's the word. Lore and world building in a game, like, I won't put it down. If there's like a good world that's been built and characters I care about, I can't put it down. And more, I'm finding that that is becoming more and more a priority to me. And so if I'm playing a game and like the world is not interesting to me and the characters, there's no, oh, stakes. New York stakes, tri-tip baby. No, there needs to be stakes in games for me to enjoy the game. Something has to be at stake for me to want to play. Now, the only time that there is a exception to this rule is if I'm playing a game on my couch with my friends. Right? Like if I'm playing Overcooked, I could argue that nothing is really at stake. Well, nothing's really at stake. There's a plot baked into Overcooked, but not really. Not really. Hello, Penguin. Not a plot where I feel like if I don't keep cooking, I'm like, oh, I'll never know what happened. I know what's gonna happen. Nothing. Absolutely nothing's gonna happen. I'm gonna cook all the recipes, and then the King Onion is gonna come to me and go, "Good job, you cooked them all. Now you saved the world. Make sure to download the DLC next time where we're making spaghetti." And I mean, I'm saying this in a slightly insulting way, but I love that game, and I will download the DLC and I will make that spaghetti. But I don't feel like there's any stakes if I don't do it. But when I'm playing a game by myself, I do need for there to be stakes. I need somebody. It's like, yo, so and so's gonna die if we don't do this, or you have to save so and so. They're trapped, or stakes. And that is like the main reason why like more chill, passive games like Stardew Valley, like I can't play them. I can't play Stardew Valley with any enjoyment because I just don't care about the world or the people, and I feel like there's not enough at stake, and I feel like it's hard for me to care. And it sounds so mean when I say it. Like even as I'm hearing the words, it sounds like I'm like trashing the game, and I'm not. It's just certain things are hard for me to care about. It's hard to make me care, and if I don't care, I don't want to give time. I have to care about things to spend time on them. That's happened with books. Okay, I'm gonna end the stream soon because now it's just turning into a rambling mess. But there's a book called Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. That's not the book that I'm going to talk about though right now. F. Scott Fitzgerald also wrote a book earlier in his career called This Side of Paradise, and I bought it because I like F. Scott Fitzgerald, or I thought I did. I read This Side of Paradise, and it's just this loose, vague, autobiographical romp through like New England, and it sucks. It's horrible. The characters suck. I think partially the characters suck is because it's about people he knew and himself. But the characters suck. The story goes nowhere. It's very annoying. You don't get any gratification. There's no stakes. It's just kind of like imagine a story, but take out the beginning and take out the end. So it's just middle. Like it's just meandering nothingness. Anyways, I finished the book out of obligation, but not out of enjoyment. I did not like that book, and I've forgotten most of it. So, with that said, that's what Stardew Valley feels like to me. And likewise games. Like-minded games? Oh boy, but yeah. I'm trying to remember the last game I played that was like that I enjoyed. I don't know, man. The last game I played and enjoyed. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, and I will end this conversation with some news. The last game that I played and enjoyed that was like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing type beat was Hey You Pikachu. I say that because Hey You Pikachu had zero plot. You kind of just had a Pikachu and you could teach it things, and you could get it clothes, and you can play games with it, but overall, nothing was going to happen ever. And and nothing was really ever happening. You weren't training Pikachu so you could beat somebody at the end. You weren't. Pikachu wasn't even really fighting. He was just kind of walking around. He was kind of walking around. So I don't know. But the reason I played it is because it had, you know, Game Freaks or whatever. It had like Pokemon properties to it. If you take Pikachu out of Hey You Pikachu, if it was just a game about you had this dog and you had to feed the dog and take the dog for walks, I would never have purchased that game. But I purchased it because I got fooled in by there being Pikachu on the cover. And did I enjoy the game? Yes. Would I enjoy it now? Absolutely not. I do remember Nintendogs though, Maddie. It surprises me that there isn't like some big Nintendogs thing at launch for Switch. That was shocking to me. You decided that The Scarlet Letter and The Great Gatsby were the only two books you needed to read in high school. Who decided? Oh. Well, those weren't the only two books that I read in high school, or was even required to read, but I do agree with your sentiment, Diz. I don't know who chooses the books we had to read in high school. I would argue that most of them aren't very good, but... Oh my god, Diz, you dragged me into... I was supposed to be done talking, but, Diz, I think that... This is my theory, which is probably wrong, but this is what I tell myself so that I can get sleep at night. I think that all of the books that we read in high school were chosen because they truly showed the variation and usually darker side of humanity. And for kids, kids are stupid and they don't understand the world as it works and what it is. They think that it is in most ways either a service to them or some type of detriment to them, like they're the hero and the world is against them. Or the world is for them and it's their play place. And I think the one common thing among a lot of those a lot of those novels that we had to read, whether it was Of Mice and Men, The Great Gatsby, Scarlet Letter, it showed how ugly humanity can be. And I think in some subliminal level, you graduate high school and when people are really awful to you as adults, you aren't as shocked and confused because you think, oh, you know what, this is like in To Kill a Mockingbird when all the people were trash. And I think that reading novels about people who are, I don't know, I'll just paint with a broad stroke and say unpleasant, is kind of a good precursor and like demo. It's like a trial for life. Where later on you get into life and you realize, oh, people do behave like they do in those books. Those books weren't like wild fantasies. That's just kind of how people are. That is my theory. Do I think that that's really why they chose those books? Probably not, but that's the only common thread I can see in those books. They're usually about somebody trying to do something and life getting in the way, and there's kind of nothing that can be done about it. There isn't like Superman that shows up at the very end and like saves everybody. It's just kind of like in the end, it's like, oh, the world kind of sucks sometimes, and thank you for reading this book about it. Anywho, yeah, there's no point. The Scarlet Letter was right. At no point in your life you did. Oh, the Scarlet Letter. Really, Diz? The Scarlet Letter is actually extremely relevant to real life. Diz, I don't want to turn this into a lecture, but it is extremely relevant to real life. I mean, it might take some analogous, is that the term? Analogous thinking to connect it, but it is. But yeah, I think all of them are. Even The Great Gatsby, right? Great Gatsby is just about some like idiot who like really wanted to be accepted by certain people, so he did all the things that he thought he could do to get accepted by them, and in the end he wasn't. A lot of that is true too. I don't want to get too dark in the stream, but I'm sure you can put yourself in a position where you're like, these people don't like me and don't accept me, and it doesn't matter what I do, they never will, even in the end. Word. I think Diz, you're saying that Scarlet Letter didn't have enough didn't have enough impact on you to have a lasting impression. I think that a lot of those books didn't have an impression on me, with the exception of A Streetcar Named Desire, which was also very, very unfortunate story about domestic violence, which no one gets saved in the end. It's just bad, and then people, live with it, which is a lot like real life. A lot of times it's just bad people live with it. I think that a lot of those books didn't necessarily have a huge impact on me. It's just that I kept running into those themes later in life. The Scarlet Letter is something that is a theme that I constantly run into in life. And so it always makes me think like, Scarlet Letter. Yeah, 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 yeah. This is like that. Or like, Salem Witch Trials. This is like that. Um, to Kill a Mockingbird. Oh, this is kind of like To Kill a Mockingbird. I think that's what it is, Diz. Um, I feel you, Diz. A lot of those books. Oh my god. Okay, Diz, this is a really good conversation, but I am over. A lot of those books were kind of bad and boring because they were forced upon you. After graduating high school, did go back and read The Great Gatsby. I also went back and read This Side of Paradise. That was not required reading. I went back and I read some of those books because I had the exact same thought that you had. I remember walking into a Barnes& and Nobles. I don't know how many of you guys have been in a Barnes& and Nobles in the past 5 years, but most of them, if you go into Barnes& and Nobles, over by the cafe, there's this really long, broad painting of all of the famous writers in the cafe. It's like F. Scott Fitzgerald and George Orwell and Edgar Allan Poe is like in the painting somewhere, and Dostoevsky is in the painting, and Alexander Dumas is in the painting, and I don't need to name all the people in the painting. You get it. It's a bunch of classic authors, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't like any of these people in their books. I should say I don't like any of their work. And I was like, I think that I just wasn't mature enough to understand a lot of those books. And I reread some of them, and some of them do stay bad. They're like not good, but some of them you do benefit from reading them as an adult. You're able to understand really what's going on because you lived a little bit of life. And maybe having people read books on the true face of humanity and then having them experience humanity isn't enough. Maybe the true third step in that process of self-actualization is reading the book again and going, people are bad in books, living life, seeing people are bad, and then reading that book again and going like, oh yeah, actually. Yeah, I get it now. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. We're going to go over some really quick news. News number one is that I do have a new song out called The View. It is on Bandcamp. For everybody who did buy my music on Bandcamp recently when they were giving all of us the actual money from the purchases, I do appreciate you guys. That did mean a lot. A lot of us musicians, especially who make a lot of money off of performing and touring, right now is a very difficult time for us. So anytime you guys are streaming something or purchasing music, that's huge. So thank you. Outside of that, I do have two other releases out. They're my two most recent like EP/album, mixtape, whatever you want to call them. One is called Ego Death and the other one is called Quick Breath. You can find them on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. We're on YouTube right now, so if you want to look at any of the videos that I've made, I have made videos for several of my songs, like Into Thin Air and Hush Sound. Sorry, Hush Hour. Hush Sound is the name of a band I liked a lot when I was in high school. Also, as far as tour dates and merch, they're not really coming anytime soon because nobody knows how to navigate this situation we're in. So I won't really have any tour or performance news for a while now. But as far as streams, the streams are happening here still every morning, weekdays at 9 a.m. So if you can make it into it, I would appreciate that. I know some of us are locked in our homes, and it is boring to say the least. Hopefully I can figure out what the heck was wrong with my phone so I won't be spinning upside down a bunch in the stream next time. Yeah. A weird time. This is gonna make some tomato soup. Oh yeah, if you're in the stream, please like the stream. I think that doesn't occur to a lot of people, and I don't blame them. It doesn't even occur to me to remind people. But it is important. 100 is tomorrow. Dark road. and polite to each other. Please be safe. I know that doesn't. I don't know what that means really. Be safe. I don't know how you are going to choose to be safe, but I just hope that you guys receive that as Omni cares about your well-being. Yeah, I'm gonna take care. I'm gonna go eat some leftover pizza and play some more Control. I'll see you guys here for morning medley number 100 tomorrow, which is probably going to be just a typical morning medley stream. I might make it 2 hours instead of one, just on this special occasion. But I'll see you guys tomorrow for that on Wednesday. Also, really quickly, I am going to be putting up a new video today or tomorrow. I'll put it up tomorrow since tomorrow's stream number 100. I'll put it up tomorrow. Word up. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Abba. Boopy boopy ba ba da ba. Bum ba ba bum 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 bum. Oh, it won't let me end it.